Hello, everybody, and welcome back to F1 TS Hub. Apologies for being late. That is entirely my fault. But we're here now, myself and Jono, and we are here for the Late Night Talk Show once again. Ninth episode, Jono. One more to go before, obviously, we break up for Christmas. Sounds like we're back at school, but good to have you in the commentary box and another entertaining race in your pinnacle race. It makes me so jealous.
Yeah, it was absolutely fantastic again. I caught you chatting about it on Friday night, and yeah, it's just absolutely fantastic. The rivalry between the front guys and the battle between the mid pack is just insane in that tier.
Yeah, it definitely is. I had my favorite commentary of the season. So, and speaking of commentary, we're going to get Sean who commentates on the podium tier. We're going to get Kieran, who commentates on the pinnacle tier with you, Jono, and then Jack, who commentates on the prestige tier in just 5 minutes. But we're going to run through the results of the race. We won't spend as much time because we really want to chat to the commentators and hear their thoughts because they've got a good 9 or so races to talk to us about. But Jono, other than me messing up the stream on the podium tier race, debut pole position for CXY. Liam got ahead of Danestar as well with promising pace, which we knew he had. And Jorrit was there, Nick was there. It was a close qualifying session and a good turnout for the podium tier as well.
Yeah, it was good turnout, as you say. Pretty exciting session. Liam has been threatening to get a result like that in quali for a while. I know he was pretty confident, I think, after the practice on Thursday as well. So yeah, pleased obviously for him to get it on the front row, and yeah, for the debutant to come in there in the Ferrari as well and stick it on pole. Well, that's fantastic, and pushing the usual sort of pole positions man Dainster down into onto the second row there.
Yeah, definitely. And it must be really encouraging for himself to come in and straight away get pole position, be it on the quicker compound, but nevertheless, sometimes that just gives you a real confidence boost. And particularly when, you're starting the season as midway through a newbie, I think that I think he's really going to bode well into the podium tier. He's been asking for ages, messaging me whilst on the waiting list, and I'm so happy to, get him finally in the league.
Yeah, absolutely. Pole position couldn't be any better way to settle in, could there? And yeah, fantastic for him. And he looks like he's going to be a driver who's going to battle it with those guys throughout. So the more the merrier. The more good battling and side by side action we can see, the better.
Alrighty, well, finishing race, obviously Danestar got a puncture towards the end, but he was already struggling. He had loads of lag when he was battling with Ols, but he was already struggling in the race. This isn't his quickest track. He had a few penalties. Jorrit went on to take the win. He's been threatening for a while. He didn't mess up this time. Quite easy win for him in a sense that one-stop race, not too much trouble. CXY recovered to second on his debut. I still think he should take massive encouragement from that. And Ols all the way from 10th on the grid, making up the podium. Jonas and Nick rounding out the top five. And the whole race, there was battling at the front. I didn't know who was going to win. Sean didn't know who was going to win or who was going to finish on the podium. By far my favorite podium race.
Yeah, it was great. I just watched the final few laps now, and the battle going on there with Ols and three or four cars all battling was great to see. And the track actually delivered better racing throughout all the tiers than I thought it would. There was quite loads of side-by-side action and cars staying side by side throughout several corners. And there was different lines you could take to try and make moves work. So it actually exceeded my expectations in terms of being a good racetrack.
Right, we're going to invite Sean now, Jono, just because he can't stay late, so let's get him in the party. I don't know if you're able to. No, Kieran, I've got him as well. So there he is, Sean and Jack. Let's get him in. So Pinnacle tier race, Jono, pretty exciting. Again, very close in qualifying. A second covering the top 10. Sam bites back with pole position, but pretty clear that everyone was going to do a one-stop race from qualifying.
Yeah, it was. One stop was the way to go pretty comfortably, wasn't it, at this track? And yeah, you can see that from the tyre strategy. Most people going with the super softs. And Reflow, surprisingly, outside the top 10 in 11th, but he did have that soft tyre, which did work out pretty well for him as the race went on.
Awesome. All right, welcome to the commentary box, Sean, Kieran, and Jack. Good to have you here. And I don't know if you've watched any of the talk shows, but we just basically analyse the races. But welcome, first of all.
Yes. Yeah.
Thank you.
Sean,
It's great to be here.
awesome. Sean, we'll start with you because we know you can't stay long. The podium race, you absolutely loved it this week, didn't you?
I absolutely love it, and yeah, with my commentary, it's always a very, uh, yeah, how can I say, just it brings so much joy, and I bring the stream to life with everything, so that's why the podium here is a very good thing that I always wanted to commentate on.
You've often been told on the stream you have a sexy voice. Do you think that plays into your advantage when commentating?
Yes, I have indeed a very sexy voice, and it's mainly because Bookster is my son right now, so Daddy Son is always coming to in handy.
Awesome stuff. And the podium tier, we're 8 races in. Red Bull had won all the races up until Friday night, where we had a new winner. But what have you made of the
Yeah.
season so far? The on-track action, the championship battles, the controversies.
Well, I think it's a good one that Red Bull has finally stopped winning, because now it brings some joy in the races. And yeah, I think now they are a little bit angry that they didn't win this time this season, but yeah, this things happens, and I think we are going. Wait, no, I think there was a final race before the race break. I think,
Yeah, there's one
if
more
I'm
week.
correct.
Yes, one more.
Okay, yeah, then I'm going to be completely drunk. But anyway, yeah, I think it's going to be a very classical race next week.
Awesome stuff. And any standout drivers? Anyone you're impressed with? Obviously, CXY joined for Friday. He's been on the waiting list, and he finally got his chance. Took pole and finished second.
Yeah, I think a great debut. You can't have it any better. But yeah, I think standouts. Deenster on pure pace, he is just amazingly quick, but he needs to manage his tires just way better because his tires are just in the race still they are burning so quickly. But also Nick still he doesn't want to give up, so I'm also very impressed with that, and yeah, with the Mercedes team as well, and also the Haas drivers with Jamie. And of course, I'm gonna curse him next week with fourth place, but he's gonna love me for that.
John, do you have a question for Sean? Obviously, you've watched a few podium races. We've spoken about them in the talk show. Anything you'd like to ask
Oh
him?
dear.
Sean, has Nick has he given you plenty of wisdom over your time commentating with him? Do you feel he's improved you as a human being joining him in the commentary box?
I think you can. I have a feeling that you already miss me in the steward's office. I think that's why.
I do. I don't know what to do with my weekends anymore.
Yeah, I think I have to go back league racing with you, because I think you very much miss me.
Good stuff. Alrighty, Kieran. Obviously, I haven't had a chance to speak to you much since the season started, but your commentator has been fantastic. Obviously new to F1 TS Hub for this season. What have you thought of it, and have you been enjoying your races?
Yeah, absolutely. I think from the word go, it's been a really good season so far. Lots of battling throughout, especially with Reflow, Samster, Donkall, who managed to come through when I had a little bit of a break as well, making his way onto the scene. So I think it's been really good battling throughout. Maybe Ferrari are dominating a little bit too much, but we're not even halfway through the season, so it's a little bit too early to say stuff like that, I guess.
I watched your races back, and I'm so jealous of your how close qualifying is, and then the race is just all the way through from first lap to the end. It's just battling all the way through, side by side action for the most part clean. Obviously, you've had a couple of first lap incidents in the tier which have caught a lot of drivers up. But for the most part, it's been ever so exciting. How does that compare to other races that you commentate on in other leagues?
I mean, when you're saying about the turn one, the instance there, you're going to get those in certain races. I think that's just a guarantee. Not everyone's going to make it through the first corner every single time. So I think compared to other races, it's such a strong comparison. The field is really tight. Always battling through the field. There's always something to watch. There's always a battle to watch. especially last time out in France. That was quite a hectic race, and after I find myself on a Friday coming to the end of my voice, I have to recover for Saturday. So I'd like to thank all the drivers for that one.
Yeah, it's and I don't know if you caught any of the talk show, but obviously, Jono, you were here for it. We got both Mercedes boys and both Ferrari boys in a couple of weeks ago, and the confidence that they were both going to beat each other was absolutely even Jono, when we were racing, we never had that sort of confidence. It was interesting to just hear how confident they were and sure that they were going to beat their rivals. Who do you see coming out on top between the two teams? Obviously, Farth hasn't put in the results the last few weeks.
Yeah, I think it's been tough for Farth, especially in qualifying. He's either been unlucky or on the wrong tyres, whatever happens to him. He normally finds himself starting at the back, so that really doesn't help him. If he's able to string these qualifying results together, maybe get him even into the top half of the table, then he's got a pretty good chance of grabbing some more points. I think in turn that's helped Ferrari because Reflow has been a bit on his own up there at the top. I mean, I'm looking at the gap between them now, 61 points. I mean, it's a big gap. We're not even halfway through the season, so I think Farth there's still plenty of time in the season. So still wait and see, I guess.
I think McLaren have definitely joined that battle, by the way, as well in the constructors' championship for sure, and maybe the drivers. Yeah.
Yeah, that was my next question. Donkel obviously arriving on the scene whilst you were away, Kieran, and obviously you came back, and there's this McLaren which is getting pole positions and fighting for wins, and absolutely dominated in Monaco. But what do you make of McLaren's chances? Do you think they can get involved?
I mean, they've got two really decent drivers in Donkel and Pepsi Gamer. They can definitely challenge for the top spot there. Obviously, they're how many points is it? 78 points. It's not the biggest deficit in the world, but it's going to take some doing. But with drivers like Donkel and Pepsi Gamer, if they can keep consistently scoring those points and rising up the table, then I don't see why not.
Awesome stuff. Last thing I'd like to ask for now, Kieran, is do you have a favourite moment from the season?
I wouldn't say a favourite moment so far. It's too early for me to say that. Ask me after Abu Dhabi, after I've had a chance to remember what on earth has gone on. If I had to pick one moment for now, I think it would probably be Sophie's debut podium last time out in France. I mean, she's come onto the scene, almost grabbed pole position there. She was on provisional pole for a long time, but she had a fantastic race, battling throughout, and thanks to Samster's many penalties, managed to grab a debut podium. So I think that for me is quite a big moment. Give me a chance to watch through all of the season, come to the end of it, and I'll pick out a moment for you.
Awesome stuff. Of course, you can vote for Sophie on Driver of the Day over on Twitter, so you can head over there if you want to cast your vote. Jono, question for you. You've been enjoying, obviously, first time commentating with Kieran this season. You've been enjoying it. And then if you've got a question for Kieran, go ahead.
Yeah, it's been absolutely great. I mean, the tier's delivered, so it's pretty easy for me and Kieran, I guess, to get excited about it when there's so much action. That question you just asked him about, what was his highlight of the season? I'm struggling to actually think of my highlight of an individual race because there's so many. I forget the overtakes that have happened in the first half of the race, come the end. But it's been absolutely great. So I'm pretty sure we're going to have an awesome end to the season. And as you mentioned with Farth and the constructors, it sort of almost frustrates me watching Farth at the moment because I know he's quick, but things just keep going wrong for him that hinder him from getting more points. So I'm hoping he can turn it around and carry this battle on to the end. Yeah, just with Kieran in general, it's been fantastic, and obviously he does quite a bit of commentary. So this is my one and only commentary role, so it's great to pick up some tips from the master along the way.
Jono, the worst thing you could do is feed my ego at this point. Don't do it.
I'll say no more.
Alrighty, we'll head over to Jack, and obviously Jack commentates on our top prestige tier. Some aliens in that tier, Jack, and obviously your first time commentating F1 TS Hub this season, and judging by your reaction after most races, you've been enjoying it?
Yeah, I've got some very high therapy bills that I'm going to need to pay. The action has been some of the best I've ever seen on any tier anywhere. It's just constant, relentless overtaking. In some cases, crashes. It happens, but it's incredible. I've been really impressed by kind of the standard of the racing and how bloody quick everybody is, and it really puts a dampener on my morale when I'm trying to race and I'm like 3 seconds off the pace of these guys. It's stupid.
They are insanely quick, and obviously qualifying, it's so close. You can never walk into a race, I imagine, be able to predict who's going to get pole.
Yeah, exactly. We've got gaps. We've got like 3, 4 drivers separated by 600ths of a second. I think was one time, but it's so unpredictable. Yeah, me and Alex, we always try to make a prediction of who's going to take pole, and usually we always say Blizzard, but it's usually never Blizzard in the end, and it's always by the smallest of margin that somebody gets people. It makes qualifying super enjoyable to watch, which is rare.
Obviously, with the top tier in in a lot of leagues, you get a lot of big egos. But what I find interesting is, come the end of the first or second lap, sometimes you've got the entire field still within DRS range of each other, and it must be so difficult to pick the battle to watch for obviously the viewers.
Well, that's one of the things I've had to learn is you really got to pick your battles and pick your importance, because flicking around on the screen isn't very aesthetically pleasing, I suppose. But in the heat of the moment, you're like, oh, this is going on, this is going on, this is going on, I gotta watch this. Um, so in that regard, I hate Prestige tier, but I love it at the same time because there's just constant action. I think I certainly remember 19 cars on lap 3 in Bahrain, all in one camera shot down the back straight. That was great.
Yeah, it's fantastic, and obviously been an interesting season for the championship. Julian leads the way at the moment, but yeah, that difficult race in Baku. Who do you think the title contenders are? Because you know all the top drivers have had a bad race at least once.
Yeah, I mean, at the beginning of the season, it really looked like it was Blizzard's, but he made so many errors and little like it's like such bad luck. Like Bahrain was his, and he made that little mistake on the curb, and then he had a bad race in Baku as well. But I mean, Julian, he's the most consistent, and he's just been there to pick up the pieces when people have had bad races. I think I'm gonna probably say he's probably gonna win the championship. Is it too early to say that because he's got such a big lead? But I think Lewis is certainly up there. His Baku race was great and perfect strategy calls, and he's always thereabouts. I think maybe the two Ferraris as well. They're in on it as well. They always end up starting down the back and then coming up on like Bahrain example. I think 15th, 16th, or 10th and 15th on the grid, and then 1 and 2. So that they're always there. Noak's got starting to get some great pace on. So right now, my tip for the championship is Julian, but I'm probably going to be horrifically wrong in my prediction. Watch this space.
Right, last question before I hand you over to Jono. That's what I was going to say next. It's a lot of the drivers who start outside the top 10. They whack on the hardest compound, and then they seem to finish on the podium. How does that work?
I don't know why you're asking me that. I don't know either. I mean, it's great in a way because I take Monaco as an example. We were at 1 and 2 on the grid. We were getting ready. Me and Alex were getting ready to fall asleep, and then I think MLA came from like I think it was like 10th or 11th on the grid and come straight through, but banged on a set of the harder tires and went straight up and won the race. So the thing about it is it makes all the races so unpredictable. And that's what you want as a commentator, really. You want unpredictable, fun races, close racing. And if it's a crash, make it a good one.
Jono, do you have a question for Jack and his prestige tier?
Yeah, it's obviously been, as you're saying, insanely competitive so far, and going in, you pretty much have no idea who's going to do what. The quickest driver often doesn't win, it seems, in that tier. Often it's the driver who makes less mistakes. Do you find yourself sort of thinking and chatting about the race a long time after you end the stream every week?
Oh yeah, me and Alex are there for a good hour afterwards,
Jesus.
chatting about everything. Just
Wow.
going back through, and the first thing we say to each other after is, "Oh my good lord, please see my therapist." That's the first thing. It's always the first thing we said after every single race so far this season, even Monaco, which was mad as well.
Yeah, you do a good job keeping on top of it all as well. There's so many sort of do or die overtakes in that tier as well. I'm just thinking, oh my God, what are you doing? But you managed to find your way to covering the action pretty well, I think, so far. So, do you have a favourite circuit or a couple of circuits to commentate on as well? Do you have any coming up that you think, wow, I'm really, really looking forward to this one?
Uh, I really like Hockenheim. I think it's a great track for overtaking because you got a lot of DRS and especially that hairpin and that almost that entire section through the stadium section as well as all overtaking opportunities. There's loads of places so I'm expecting a really good race there. I quite enjoy Monza as well, Spa, all those ones. Kind of the big wide open circuits where you can have 3-4 cars going 4 wide down a straight. Those are the tracks that I like. So the closest one or nearest one that I'm really looking forward to is definitely Hockenheim.
And the prestige tier will go 4 down the straight if they can fit him.
Oh, they will. Oh, they will.
Yeah, it's when we do the talk show each week, me and John try and watch the races that obviously we don't commentate on, and it's with the prestige tier, you can't. There's nothing you can skip. With the podium tier, if you're watching it, you can skip a few minutes ahead, and you kind of work out what happened. Where with the prestige tier, you're just locked into it the entire time because if you skip even 30 seconds, someone's going to be overtaken or defending, or there'll be an incident. And you've got another 12 races to go to enjoy.
Yeah, 12. That's exactly right. I'm probably gonna end up having a coronary by the end of the season if things stay the way they are.
Good stuff. All right, guys. Do you have any questions for each other or for myself or Jono?
Put me on the spot here. No, I've just been really enjoying my time. It's definitely a different experience, this league. So to adjust to the drivers having their media day, getting that all into the commentary, trying to include as many people as possible in that press conference. Just saying, Odems, you're very harsh in your press conference, but that's what makes it so entertaining. So yeah, I'm really enjoying my time here. Not really a question, I know, but just thought I'd say that.
Yeah, Odems does a great job
concur.
with those. All
Yeah, we
right,
had a question from
Odems.
Odems a bit earlier as well. Sorry,
Yeah.
saying, do you find yourself ever subconsciously cheering a driver on?
I'll let Jack answer that one first.
Sort of, because being part of VSR, you kind of have a bias slightly towards all the VSR guys.
It's about 6 then, isn't it?
Yeah,
Most
there's a
of the
lot,
field.
but yeah, pretty much. But I think, especially in Monaco and all those other ones, I was kind of cheering on Odems quite a lot, and Josh, I tend to cheer those guys on a lot. So subconsciously, I'm kind of leaning towards Odems and Josh quite a lot.
And
Yeah, I always
yourself,
find
Karen?
myself subconsciously cheering on the guys who've had a few incidents, and they might your daddy have late had a few incidents. So I always find myself subconsciously rooting for the guys who've had a few bad races, and always wishing it for their luck to turn around.
Yeah, I kind of noticed that as well. I really want Farth to do well. And I kind of fall into that same category as you there, Jono. When some of the guys are sort of down, they have the pace. You're just wanting them to get those results they deserve. And sometimes that can come across as a little bit biased. I try and keep myself neutral, but that's never going to happen. So
Yeah, another one on your tier in the pinnacle tier, guys, is Matt, your daddy. He does so well to come start, further down on the harder compound, come through the field, and then he just always seems to get hit. Someone always seems to hit him or chop his wing off or something. And when I watch it back, I feel so bad because I wanted to have a good result because he's done so well up to that point in the race to get there.
yeah, and I can't help but feel that he's just so frustrated. I think he vented that last week. So yeah, you do feel sorry for him. You work hard. You put in the laps there to get yourself as quick as possible. You work on your strategy, and then the race is all over in the space of 2 or 3 laps. So, yeah, I can only feel his pain, and hopefully he'll get the results he deserves on the board later down the season.
Awesome. All right, before we go, we'll have to do the pick a winner for next round. Obviously, the last one before the Christmas break. And what are we? We going to? Is it Britain next? Is it
Austria?
Silverstone
It is.
or Austria?
Also, Austria, yeah.
Austria. Another good track for overtaking. The field, I imagine, in qualifying, guys, is going to be extremely close. Being the short amount of corners and the lap times being quite low. But if you had to pick a winner for next week, who do you think is going to take the checkered flag? Kieran, we'll start with you.
It's going to be a tough one. I think if Samster can keep away from those corner cut penalties, I think he got 15 seconds of them last time out. So he's got a good chance. I mean, both Ferraris have been looking strong in qualifying. If I had to pick, I think I'd probably go with Samster to get pole, but Reflow to get the win.
Good stuff. Jono, yourself?
Well, this week I'll go through the tiers as usual. I'm going to go for Dainster again in the podium tier because I just think he's got to bounce back. He likes winning races too much to go long without one. So I'm going to go for him. And in the pinnacle tier, oh, it's so tough. I'm going to go for Sam because he fell through the field a bit at Spain in France last time out, and I think he'll be. Well, we know how keen he is from when we've spoken to him to be bouncing back as well. So Sam, and I'm going to go for Blizzard in the prestige tier because he's super quick, hasn't had too much luck on his side, I guess, at times this season. So I think he's going to bounce back and win in Austria.
And for the prestige tier, Jack, who do you think's going to take the checkered flag? Do you think maybe Blizzard can bounce back?
I think if he like most drivers, I think if he stays away from the corner cuts, I think he's got a good chance. But I'm probably going to go with for pole position. I'm probably going to go with Julian on that one. But I think if Lewis is there, I think he even might have a chance. So I'm going to go with Lewis on that one.
What did you make of Lewis? Obviously, in Canada, his incident with Nurk, where he just completely, lost the car and lost the win.
I think that was frustration more than anything. I think it's very easy to do that when you get passed by someone to just floor the throttle and then worn tires. Obviously, I don't think he actually intended to put it in the wall, but I think I heard on his end that that Noah, I think it was Noah, that he actually collided with him, but on the stream there was no contact whatsoever. So I think there was a bit of desync there or something like that. But anyway, I don't think it was intentional. I'm sure he's ruined his mistake now, but I reckon he'll bounce back. He did so well in Baku, so if he gets a safety car, that'll work in his favor for sure.
Awesome. And my predictions, I'm gonna go with let's go with CXY. He got pole last time, finished second on his debut in the podium tier. I'm gonna go with Don Cool because I think Austria you can qualify on the quickest compound and still one stop, and obviously we know in Monaco he was able to do that and win. So I'm gonna go with him, and then I'm gonna go with Blizzard for Austria. I think he's got to bounce back. But I reckon Odems will have a good race as well in Austria with some classic of his dive bombs, I'm sure. All right, guys, we'll leave it there for now. Just to bring you the results of the later two tiers, John and I didn't discuss. Reflow finished fourth. Remind me, guys. Scorpion took the win. Scorpion took a podium, his first podium. Kieran and Jono. Reflow dropped down off the podium. Sophie took that through penalties, and Don Call took the win, obviously his second win of the season. In the prestige tier, Julian got pole position. He went on to win the race as well. Penalties played a part in that tier as well, so let me flick over to the results so I don't get this one wrong. And yeah, Odems finished in second place, Blizzard in third, MLA jumped up to fourth in penalties. So congratulations to all the drivers who took part in Friday's races, and looking forward to next week in Austria, our last race before the Christmas break. And of course, some exciting news regarding the league coming next week. So look out for that on all of our social media. And yeah, Kieran, Jack, Sean, earlier on, thank you for joining us, and of course thank you for all your hard work commentating this season. Hope you've been enjoying it. Jono, thank you again for joining me. We'll be back next week for the talk show, and we'll be back on Friday for all three of our tiers. Thank you.